Did you know 52% of the world's adults are trying to lose weight? That's more than 3 billion people who are on a diet. The good news is many of them will lose weight. But the bad news, 90% will regain everything back. So of the 3 billion people trying to lose weight, once we round up, pretty much 3 billion people will put it right back on. And I've been part of both 3 billions for as long as I can remember. And with every pound I've lost and regained, most of the fallest advice has been the same. Move more, eat less. Should be easy enough, right? Except I always took that advice way too literally by moving a lot more and eating way less, which helped me lose weight, at least until it didn't. And therein lies the problem with the typical move more, eat less advice. Most dieters think you need to take this advice to extremes. And the reason most of us think this is because that's what most diets promote, which can result in quick weight loss for at least a few weeks. But how often do you keep the weight off? Pretty much never. So if move more, eat less is the advice all of these plans give, but I've never had much luck keeping the weight off, then what was I doing wrong? Because it had to be me, right? All of these plans can't be wrong, can they? Except they are wrong. Because something all of these plans have in common is they do absolutely nothing to boost your metabolism. In fact, the majority of diet plans do far more to wreck your metabolism, which results in years of low-calorie misery. At least they did a ton to wreck mine for over 30 years. And I know I'm not the only one, since billions of people are regaining all of their lost weight within 5 years. So even though most people can lose weight by eating way less and moving way more, if you don't stop to think about the impact these methods have on your metabolism, then it won't be long before you can hardly squeeze into the fat pants you swore to never wear again. And I didn't get out of my fat pants for good until I quit cutting calories too low. After losing 100 pounds with keto and fasting, I was on top of the world, strutting around in a size 6 shorts for the first time since junior high. But those shorts only lasted one season before I found myself sizing up. And while a size 8 is still commendable, it wasn't long before I found myself browsing the aisles of Lane Bryant or Torrid, practically in tears because I couldn't figure out how to regain back half of what I lost. But once I took time to learn about how my metabolism really works, I learned all of those years of endless diets didn't have to happen. If only I was more patient, things could have been much different. Because whenever I was in a hurry to lose weight, I'd slash calories with the latest fad, and I'd only last so long before completely falling off track. First, I'd skip logging weekend meals because it was harder to know just how much I was eating whenever I didn't eat at home. Then I'd skip a random Wednesday because life got busy, and Thursday because Thursdays are busy too. And then the weekend because who tracks what you eat on the weekend when you already missed a few days that week? And before I knew it, I'd look back and realize that I hadn't tracked anything for months. But I never stopped tracking because it was hard, especially these days when even most restaurant foods can be logged with just a few clicks. The reason I always quit tracking points or calories or carbs that I didn't want to know. I wanted to eat all of the comfort foods that I ran back to with zero accountability. I didn't want to know that choosing the Cheesecake Factory nacho appetizer as my dinner had 2,670 calories versus my typical Skinnylicious chopped salad that only has 530 calories. Because deep down, I knew that if I logged the comfort foods that pulled me right back in, that I'd have to see exactly why I was regaining every single pound I worked so hard to lose. And since I followed plans that cut calories so low while encouraging exhausting levels of cardio, those pounds came back fast and furious. And they usually brought another 10 or 20 pounds with them because I never cared about the impact that dropping calories so low had on my metabolism. I just wanted the weight off fast and by any means necessary. But once I learned how to keep my metabolism higher by following a moderate calorie deficit instead of slashing calories as low as I could for quick weight loss, that's when things finally changed. Because while yes, I had to be more patient while losing weight, this time I didn't fall off track every single weekend because I was ravenously hungry from over-restricting all week long. When I switched from following strict 1,200 calorie diets to only cutting 15 to 20% max for my maintenance calories, that's when my fat loss plan finally started fitting around my lifestyle instead of me having to completely change my life to fit around my diet. So instead of cutting out everything I love in order to lose weight, I started eating whatever I wanted in a more sensible way. Which brings us to the second piece of fat loss advice that completely wrecked my metabolism. Because going from comforting myself with the entire plate of nachos that has almost 3,000 calories to just trying to eat less of them, well, that was a disaster. Because instead of ordering something healthy, I tried to rig the system by still ordering the nachos, but I aimed to eat only 500 calories worth. While eating a smaller portion did help me reduce calories, it did nothing for my appetite. And I definitely wasn't moving more because who has the energy to move when you are freaking starving? Which meant even though I was good while enjoying a meal out with my family, I was stressed out the entire time because my mind wouldn't stop screaming for more. Plus, I just find ways to overeat later in the day. Because 500 calories worth of nachos that have less than 12 grams of protein would never be enough to keep me full for longer than an hour or two max. And that's a big problem. Because even if you're eating in a reasonable deficit, if you don't also pay attention to protein, then even a moderate deficit won't last long before you find yourself face first in the entire plate of nachos. Because protein keeps you fuller longer. And if you don't eat enough protein, your body will keep sending hunger signals until you do. So whenever I attempted to diet with 500 calories of nachos that only has 12 grams of protein, I constantly found myself looking for another snack. But when I instead choose to eat like an adult and I order something like the factory chopped salad that has 35 grams of protein per 530 calories, that makes it way easier to stick to a moderate calorie deficit. And if I really have to have those nachos, because yes, I still want to eat like I'm 5, I never order nachos at a restaurant that packs on thousands of calories from fat and carbs while skimping on protein. I make myself adult that day and I order a low-calorie, high-protein option instead. Then, if I'm still craving nachos, I follow the beef nachos recipe for my high-protein mix and match meal plan for my next meal, and poof, my nacho cravings are curbed with only 585 calories and 45 grams of protein. And while that's a real-world example of how not getting enough protein while eating out always leads to overeating, what if you eat every single meal at home, but you still follow diets that encourage low protein? Because ain't nobody eating their target weight in protein while only eating one meal a day. And then there's keto, a plan that limits protein because of the all too scary gluconeogenesis. And let's not forget Weight Watchers, where a third of your daily points can be spent on only 4 ounces of ground beef. So if you only eat ground beef today, you'll get 816 calories with only 88.2 grams of protein. Now you're back to both low calorie and low protein. And not only will following these low protein diet plans make you feel deprived while leaving you in a constant state of hunger, but you'll also lose lean muscle, which who cares because you just want to lose weight, right? But losing lean muscle is the exact reason you keep regaining everything back. Well, that and diving face first into comfort foods when you can no longer stick to your strict diet, because there's that too. And I know this because in my 30 years of yo-yo diets, I never paid much attention to maintaining, never mind building, lean muscle because I just wanted to be skinny. So what's weight training got to do with me anyway? But when I spent all of my time on moving more with obsessive cardio and spent close to 0 time on this side of the gym, well, I lost just as much muscle as I did fat, which meant, yes, I did lose weight on the scale, but since most of the time I lost just as much muscle as I did fat, now I was just a smaller version of my former fat self with the same squishy areas that I hated before losing weight. Even after losing 100 pounds with keto, I remember sitting on the couch with my 5-year-old, and every morning he'd squeeze my arms while squealing, "Squishy." I didn't pay much attention because I was wearing a size 6 shorts with medium tops, so who cares if I had squishy arms? And I never really did care. Not until the weight started coming back, no matter how low I cut carbs. Then I hated my squishy arms, but also everything else, because with losing so much muscle, everything else went right back to being squishy. And my habit of using obsessive cardio to lose weight only made things worse, because I soon learned all of that huffing and puffing only sent the signal to slow my metabolism down even more. So not only did I not worry about building muscle on this side of the gym, but I was burning even more muscle on that side of the gym, which meant my metabolism was tanking faster than I could pedal. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that some cardio isn't good for your health, because proper use of cardio has all kinds of benefits, like improving your mood and even your heart health. But improper use of cardio, like pedaling as fast as you can for as long as you can because you just want this freaking fat gone, that'll only help you burn extra calories for so long until your body adapts. And then what? Oh, I'll tell you, and then what? Then you start sending the signal to your body that you are in an emergency situation. And you must be, because all of this stressful cardio day after day. So instead of burning the fat you're so desperate to get rid of, you're actually telling your body to slow down your metabolism because it has to conserve energy. And if you want cardio to keep working to burn fat, you have to keep going longer and harder and keep pedaling until it's no longer sustainable. But instead of focusing on all of that fat burning cardio, if you spent more time on this side of the gym building muscle, then you could relax more while letting your body burn the fat for you. But building muscle comes down to way more than just quitting obsessive cardio and lifting a few dumbbells. In fact, you could lift all of the dumbbells and not see any progress at all. But that's where this video comes in. Because if you're not getting this in your diet, you will not build any fat burning muscle. And who doesn't want to build fat burning muscle?